Sorry, y'all. I was having a little technical difficulties, but all is well now. Listen, people. It is what, Thursday night? I can't even believe it. It's Thursday night. It's trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. Yeah, we got to talk, people. We got to talk. Okay, listen. The title is called Darkness. The title is called Darkness. You know, we got this Atlanta judge. Let me back up a little bit. A man was on trial for taking another man's life, and the man happened to be a police officer. But the police officer was off duty when this incident happened. And so what happened was it was like 4:30 in the morning. The one guy was coming home from work walking. The off-duty police officer was in his own personal car driving down the road, honking his horn at the guy, telling the guy to get in his car, and allegedly was propositioning the guy for relations. Okay. The guy said no. He said no multiple times. And the car just kept spinning back, saying, get in, let me take you home, and offering. And the police officer had allegedly offered him to perform, oral on the other guy. The other guy said by the time he came around for like the third time, he felt threatened and he pow-powed him. And the jury found him not guilty, but the judge initially, when he said the verdict, he said guilty. But the reason why I titled this thing Darkness is because in our society, it is major issues, conversations around people and their sexuality. So much so that some people feel like they have to hide it. They can't be themselves, and they can't be themselves because they're not going to be accepted. When you're driving around 4:30 in the morning, and I can only go by what this other guy saying, right? Because the one person is no longer here. But when you're driving around 4:30 in the morning and you're not going to work, what are you in the streets looking for? I don't care who you are, who you love, and what you do. Be proud of yourself, be true to yourself, and don't hide it. Because when you live in darkness, dark things happen. So it's a sad story, but we're going to talk about it. The title is Darkness. And another reason why it's darkness is because of this Lil Nas X situation. So Lil Nas X, again, the wee hours in the morning, he was walking down the strip in Los Angeles with just his underwear on and some cowboy boots. At least he was clean and the underwear was clean, because he was walking like he was on a runway, strutting his stuff. He didn't seem belligerent, but he also didn't seem like he was 100% with it either. So they're saying that several people saw him and was reporting it to the LAPD. They said by the time the LAPD came, he charged at them, and they claim he stripped down naked at that point. So they said he was going to charge him with some type of crime, but first they took him to the hospital where he got treated, and they are charging him, I believe he's behind bars on a misdemeanor. And so darkness, because it seems like a lot of these celebrities and regular everyday people are so hooked on these substances. And it's sad. So, when I was growing up and you heard about who was running for president, who became president, who was the president. I remember the Ronald Reagan days. And Ronald Reagan, the first lady was Nancy Reagan. And back in those days, the first ladies, they had a big job to do. And their job was always to come up with some initiative. And I got to give it up to Nancy Reagan. Because Nancy Reagan, at the time, I want to say during one of their runs, her husband, crack was big. Crack on the streets. And she wanted to, get rid of all of the substances in the streets. So she came with the campaign, just say no. And I promise you, I remember that campaign so vividly, just say no. And if we realize that it's just that simple with a lot of things in our life, it would save us from a lot of darkness. If you're not a drinker and somebody offers you a drink and keep offering you a drink and offering you a drink, you just say no. And know this, don't ever find yourself with that person or go anywhere with them because it's darkness. A lot of these celebrities, they tell you on the set of movie sets, in the studios, it's copious amounts of substances. That's darkness. And in this day and age, when you can actually have a studio in your own home, you can record yourself, go on TikTok, do your own thing, and stay out of the darkness. We're going to talk about it. Lil Nas X. And then, let me have a conversation 1.2 seconds with the people. You're on a cruise ship, and listen, 99.9% of the food is unlimited unless you go to one of the specialty restaurants on the cruise ship. Then you're going to get your meal and, that's it, back there, boom, boom, go home. But the buffet, when it's open, unlimited. It's food for days on a cruise. You will never go hungry on a cruise. So why is it that these passengers were literally fighting over some chicken nuggets? I don't understand it. I don't get it. And when people go on vacation, and God bless you if you don't have to do this. I ain't mad at you. But usually people got to save to go on vacation. They save their little coins together. And if they bring in their family, they really save. And everybody's excited and you got it on a calendar. Growing up, I always tried to take my son somewhere. And we would have on the calendar, August, whatever to whatever, we're going to the Bahamas. This and that, we're going to Grenada. This and that, we're going to Disney. It would always be on the calendar. Something to look forward to. And I had to save my coins so we could get on the airplane and go to wherever he's going to go and stay in these hotels and do whatever. And you do all of that so you could get on the trip. And you have to explain to your kiddos why these ratchet people are fighting over some chicken nuggets. Then when you're on a cruise, you isolated. You can't get away from them. If it happened in a hotel room, whatever, you may go on this excursion, you're going over here, you're going over there, and maybe they're going somewhere else, and you may never see them the rest of your trip. But when you're on a cruise, you stuck like Chuck. You're going to run into these people. Now you got to tell your kids, let them get their food first. No, don't worry about it. No, they eat over there. Let's go over here and eat. It's ridiculous. We're going to talk about it. And you know what, 48? You remember, it reminds me of when, what do you call about? When that one summer when they was fighting over who had the best chicken sandwich, whether it was Chick-fil-A or KFC or whoever. And the people were literally standing in long lines for these chicken sandwiches and they was having fights. I'm like, over a chicken sandwich? It's terrible. I don't know how they was hangry. Hey, Flip, when, like I said, there is unlimited amount of food on these cruise ships. One thing that I don't care what nobody say, you cannot, Popeyes, thank you so much, y'all, Popeyes. You cannot go hungry on no cruise ship. And you fighting over some nuggets? Just talk to the chef. They go back there and they get 100 more. Listen, y'all, I don't talk too much. Y'all know what time it is. What I need in the chat, people? Come on, Wayne. I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is Thursday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called Darkness, okay? We got the Atlanta judge, shocking mistake. We got Lil Nas X walking the street, walking the runway. But I tell you what, he got body, honey. He ain't have an ounce of fat on him. He was walking down the street, walking the runway, posing, striking the posing pose. But unfortunately, something wasn't right. And we got the cruise ship brawl over some nuggets. Let me bring the people on in. Hey, Felicia. Hey, Wayne. Hey, 48. Hey, Julia. Hey. Listen, y'all. Thank y'all for
coming. The like button.
Yeah, come on, body. No, he had body flip. I said, good gosh almighty. You won't want to see me walking down in just my underwear. But, honey, he was ready for the stage. Yes, he was. Posing and everything. But listen, let's go ahead and get into this first story. I'm gonna do this judge story. Shocking, and I didn't personally like the way the judge handled his mistake. But that's me. So let me share a screen because y'all know how the videos hold up my hold up. Let's see here. Let me go here. Okay, I think this is it. Let me share. Remember, I kind of gave you the background that this man was accused of taking the life of an off-duty police officer. Let's take a look.
I bet the jury has it. Yeah. The jury has the indictment. Yeah, please. Yeah, just need the indictment. You got it? Okay, good. Thank you. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's coming. My attention that the jury's been able to reach a verdict. Someone is typically pleased, someone is typically not pleased when this happens. So please contain any emotions that you may have, and just excuse yourself from the courtroom quietly if you need to. But maintain order in the court, please. All right. Any reason we shouldn't bring the jury out at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Let's ask the jury to join us. Please have a seat, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Williams, I understand that the jury's been able to reach a verdict.
Yes, sir.
Is this the verdict that I'm holding in my hand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has it been agreed to by all 12 members of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
And has been dated and signed, is that
Yes.
correct? All right. Publishing the verdict, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty as to all 6 counts of the bill of indictment. Sheriff, will you please hand this to State's counsel and pass it over to.
Wait, what?
Didn't I say not?
No.
We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty on all 6 counts. Nope. I apologize for my mispronunciation. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
From the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, your 1-day or 1 jury trial service has come to a conclusion. I once again want to thank you on behalf of all the Superior Court judges down here in Fulton County for your attendance. As I told you the other day, we invite you down here and we take you away from your homes, and family, your vacations and work. We ask you to interact with other people that you don't know and make some pretty tough calls. And this case falls in that category of a pretty tough call. But we appreciate your hard work in reaching your decision. And we could not exist without good folks like you all coming down to make these decisions. So I do thank you once again on behalf of the entire Fulton County Court family. At this time, all of my previous instructions to you are lifted. You are free to discuss or not discuss this case with whomever you wish. So I hope you all have a nice weekend, and you are discharged until you receive another invitation. Thank you. If you'll step back there in the jury room, I'll come back to this one more.
All right, the jury.
Mr. Oliver, good luck to you.
Thank you, Judge. May we be excused?
Yes.
Thank you. It's a privilege. Privilege. I'll go with you.
Right here. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Just a sad situation. Let me add more to the story. Hold on one second. As I'm doing that, please, if you did not already, hit the like button, everybody. So shocking moment, judge announces wrong verdict in murder trial. Didn't I say not? A judge in Atlanta left a courtroom gasping after he mistakenly delivered a devastating guilty verdict for a man charged with unaliving a police officer when the defendant was found not guilty on all counts. Judge Henry M. Newkirk on Friday botched the climax of the week-long murder trial of Alton Oliver, who was accused of fatally pow-powing off-duty Fulton County Deputy James Thomas in December 2022. After 9 hours of deliberation, the jury found Oliver innocent, but Newkirk left out a critical word. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty as to all 6 counts with the bill of indictment. Sheriff, will you please hand this to the state's counsel and pass it over to and Newkirk told the court before he was interrupted by several baffled jurors who had just decided the verdict. The judge appears shocked by the reaction the video shows. Didn't I say not, he asked. No, multiple people in the courtroom responded. Sorry, Newkirk said. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. Oliver, 26, was walking home from work around 4:30 a.m. when Thomas, who was not on duty, approached him 3 different times in his personal car and aggressively offered him a ride home and then demanded relations. Mr. Thomas came back a second time. He comes back with the headlights off, Oliver told the court. He blurts out saying, get in, let me give you a ride. Let me suck your... When Thomas pulled around a third time, Oliver got spooked, opened fire, he said, according to Fox Atlanta News. The defense successfully argued that the shooting was self-defense. Oliver, 26, was acquitted on all 6 counts, including M, aggravated assault with a deadly pow-pow, first-degree criminal damage to property, and possession of a firearm while committing a crime. Oh, it's a sad story. Felicia, your thoughts?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Diva. You know, I don't have too many thoughts because there was something weird from the beginning, from the whole clip you showed us. Usually when the judge is getting ready to read the verdict, the defendant has to stand, yeah? And then he says, he looks at the jury and he asks, usually they ask each person independently, did they get to vote, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
This judge didn't do any of that. And then he was almost like, if it's supposed to be a kiki and a hee-hee, I think he thought he was going to get away with it. Mm-hmm. And as we learned from the Sean Combs case, these judges are being called out for their jury instructions. And we're also finding that juries, many now, are not being intimidated by the robe and the so-called rule of law and what what the judge says. So yeah, I agree with someone in the chat. The jurors pushed back and said, what? Because he was ready to go with the whole thing. He knew exactly, I believe, what he was doing. And the defendant was sitting there looking at him like, okay, you got to come again. Nobody moved. It wasn't until he reread it, and then it looked to me like perhaps the off-duty police officer was a man of color, because both sides of that courtroom were Black and brown people. And so the folks on the further side let out a sigh of relief. And the next thing you know, they all left. And I said they should take the judge with them, because the judge clearly was angry by the verdict. So all of that pretense he put up there, I didn't buy it. And I think he should step down. And I think that he should go do traffic court or something like that. Criminal court is too serious for errors like this.
That's fact.
He had poor judgment, and he was angered, I think, and he wanted to see how far he would get away with that. And once that had been entered into the record, oh boy, now this guy would probably have to come back and try to do some kind of appeal or something, because clearly he was out on bail, on bond, right? He didn't have any handcuffs on. He was done. He went up right to the door. Did you notice? He didn't have handcuffs or anything.
Well, no, they're not sitting in court for the verdict with handcuffs on now.
Yes, they are. You better
But
believe
Sean Combs wasn't.
No, and he also was allowed to wear a sweater and a shirt. There are many defendants who come in shackled, yes, from their feet to their ankles. It depends. But if he hadn't been out on bail, he wouldn't have been able to leave just like that. No, they would have had him unshackled. He was in a suit. He had on a navy suit. He had on a white shirt. No, ma'am. So this judge didn't like him from the outset. But I wish him the best, and I'm sorry that this was done to him. I'm done.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Measure Man, thank you so much for the super chat. He did that on purpose because no one had to correct him. He said, what I say? He knew what he said. Whoo, child. And it's a hard, that's what Felicia's saying. He knew exactly what he was saying. 48, your thoughts?
I agree with hey Diva, I agree with Felicia. He knew what he was doing. It's pretty like self evident. I don't have anything to add to it.
I appreciate you. Thank you. What is it? Wayne, your thoughts?
I thought judges wore robes. He looked like he may be in a sit-in or something like that, you know. Uh, I mean, he was just in his suit. I mean, I could be wrong, but I thought they wore robes. You know, I don't know. I don't know whether man, you know, meant to do it or didn't mean to do it. I just know if I was the being defended, you know, it'd been a shock. Almost would have had a heart attack. But when he came back with it, you know, that I'm quite sure he was just elated. You know, the other thing too, as far as about you know, cops, you know, just keep in mind, y'all ain't the only one that got pow pows. And these bullets ain't got names. I don't know if the guy meant to unalive him, but when you point that gun, you don't know where that bullet gonna land.
Pow pow, Wayne. Pow pow.
I know. You can say bullet, can't you?
Go ahead, finish up, Wayne. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, so you know, I mean, I'm sorry it had to end that way, you know, but you are out at night like that and somebody's in a car and being aggressive, you don't know what they're gonna do. So I'm just gonna, you know, comment. I'm glad he, you know, I hope you know, he can go on and live a productive life and, you know, this don't, you know, really hold him back. That's it.
Let me just add this though. I thought self-defense, I have to be trying to like physically do something to you. Like I could get scared and then just take somebody's life. I don't know. Katrina, your thoughts?
Child, I don't know what kind of country kangaroo court that was. I'm with Felicia. Normally, everybody come in, the jury comes in, they get the bailiff hand with the floor person handed the thing to the bailiff. Then the bailiff give it to the judge, and then the jury normally read out is the person guilty or whatsoever. But this judge, he that's his country thinking. He wanted him to be guilty. There's no way you couldn't have read that and seen that it said guilty on all charges. And you read down because normally they'll say guilty on this charge, guilty on that charge, not guilty on that charge. He said guilty right out his mouth, and then told the folks to take him to the back because he was getting ready to have him taken out the courtroom. And I'm glad that jury spoke up. Either way, it's not a win-win on each side because it's still somebody of color is gone, and one was going to be locked up. But hopefully he can go out there and do a productive life or whatsoever, and you know, make amends because somebody still lost their family member. But yeah, that kangaroo court he running is ridiculous. He need to just go home and pop some popcorn or something, just sit down and not go back into nobody courtroom. Because if you trembling and making a mistake like that, what other kind of mistakes you gonna make? But that's all I got.
Whew. Julius, your thoughts?
A misspoke like that. Number one, he was all out of order. Why wasn't he wearing his robe? Now, all the judges I've seen, I never seen them in their suits in the courtroom presiding over proceedings. They're always in their robe. That's number one for me. Number two, and this is the biggie, I want to give props to the jury. Because the jury was like, wait, what? Huh? What did you just say? They did not hesitate to call this man out onto the carpet and check him. They checked him right there. It said, read what it actually says. And see, since I'm a face reader, he said with gritted teeth, not guilty. Then he tried to play it off that he misspoke at the end. Nah, you're mad he was found not guilty on all counts. This man was stalked and harassed. And you wanted him to do a life bid? When that unalived officer was in the wrong. And if that officer was gay, it still does not give him the right to stalk and harass anybody. I don't care what it was. He has zero right doing that. So he brought it on himself.
Mm. In my opinion, your thoughts?
Well, Diva, I'm with you. Although stalking and harassment is a crime,
Mm-hmm.
none of us have the right to take somebody else's life. Like that's just no means for that. I wouldn't have gave him the charges that they was giving him, but they should have gave him some kind of charge because ultimately you ended somebody else's. You didn't try to flee. You didn't. It was no. You weren't in danger, so it was no reason for you to pull out. It was different if he was being, chased or manhandled or something like that. But you saying he pulled the car around? I'm sorry, you wasn't in danger then. I just, you know what? I'm right. I'm with fair is fair, and I just don't feel like you have the right to be the judge and juror just because you got a Popeye in your position.
We're in the car alone, in my opinion, and we together. Because if the man got out the car and was trying to grab him, I get it. If you said you started running and then he sped up the car to catch up to you, I get it. But because he came around the third time and this time the lights was off, do you have a phone, a cell phone? Did he try to call 911? I don't like this situation. But the jury found him not guilty and we're going to move forward. And he didn't know at the time that he took his life that he was a police officer. It was found out after. But let's roll on. Let's roll on to this cruise ship in the fight over some chicken nuggets, which is just ridiculous. Hold on, let me share a screen.
Over chicken tenders is crazy.
I'm just gonna mute the sound so they won't ding me for this music, but you can see what they're putting up on the screen. Shoes weren't flying. This was a different incident where the Carnival Cruise Line had a big fight, and this happened in April. And I just can't understand what is that serious. Just crazy. All right, so that's that. Hold on one second. Let me share screen again. So, cruise chaos. Wild video shows brawl on Carnival cruise ship as passenger Joe punches in a row over chicken tenders. The brawlers were surrounded by shoes which have fallen off during the fighting. This is a shocking moment. A huge brawl erupts on a Carnival cruise ship after an apparent row over chicken nuggets. Wild footage shows dozens of passengers throwing punches and kicking each other as security struggles to break up the clash. The carnage unfolded in the dining area of the Giant Holiday Cruise at around 2 a.m. on Monday morning, the final day of its voyage. As the cruise was heading back to Miami, the late night brawl suddenly kicked off. Footage shows around 20 passengers, both men and women, becoming involved in the violent scrap. Several chaotic punches are thrown as more and more people join in. Some passengers are left furling around on the ground after being hit. Others attempt to wildly swing at fellow diners before missing and ending up on the floor themselves. People are seen falling to the ground after being hit as others wildly throw punches. At one point, a pair are both caught in headlocks, surrounded by shoes which have fallen off the fights. Two women can be seen filming the carnage from what appears to be on top of the buffet area. Another female passenger can be heard screaming, "Where the F is security?" 3 male guards can be seen in the footage, with one phoning in extra support as 2 others try their best to pull people away from the melee. All of those involved appear to be under 30, with many being much younger. Content creator Mike Tierra filmed the brutal scuffle and posted it online. He can be heard in the footage explaining the suspected reason behind the brawl. Mike reveals, "Over chicken tenders is crazy." The content creator later replied to several comments on Instagram about the brawl, as he said it actually escalated over more than just food. Speaking to the New York Post, Mike admitted, "We weren't close enough to know why the fight really started. We just knew they were in line for food." The Sun has reached out to Carnival Cruise for a comment. It comes as another Carnival cruise ship was plunged into chaos in April. Violence erupted when passengers were getting off the ship after a week-long journey in the Western Caribbean. Dozens of passengers started to brawl with each other before they were all slapped with a "do not sell" order. A spokesperson for Carnival confirmed that 24 passengers were banned from the cruise line as a result of the violent altercation. It follows a ferry cruise ship brawl that broke out between female passengers over a slice of pizza last year. Oh my God. This is horrific. So ratchet. Julius, your thoughts?
So I guess Carnival is just to get a cruise line. Because let me tell you, when I was on the Peninsula, me and my cousin, we was just talking in the buffet, just chilling. And we see these 2 young Asian ladies, older Asian lady, they just going at it with each other. No hands throwing. Luckily, the captain and the officer was right there, so he just stood in the middle. Was like, "Y'all need to calm it down. What's going on?" So the older lady was just explaining the situation. The girls was just on 10. Like, he was just like, he started laughing afterwards. He was just like, dang. Luckily, there was no fight out of that. Me and my cousin, we was just like, what was that all about? They fighting over nothing. Over chicken nuggets, though. Go to your rooms and call room service. Listen, room service was the plug, okay? Listen, my ham and cheese sandwich toasted, okay? Listen. Call room service and get your chicken nuggets. But now these stupid folk earned themselves a permanent ban. And that's just not on Carnival's cruise line. That's on every cruise line.
Thank you, Julius. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah, and people wonder why we get stereotyped that black people love chicken. You up there fighting over chicken. Carnival Cruise gonna end up with a whole lot of lawsuits. Somebody gonna get hurt. They gonna end up with a whole lot of lawsuits. I mean, every time I turn around, I see something happen on Carnival Cruise, and it's always one of us. is just ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous, and they need to limit these people alcohol consumption because
Mm.
they get hungry and after they drink and they want to eat food. Come on, they need to limit their alcohol consumption. They're gonna end up with a lot of lawsuits, and for you to be up there fighting over some chicken, which I think it was, I don't even think it was about no chicken. I think it was something else. Cause like who finna fight over chicken? Well, they were fighting over Popeye's chicken sandwiches. So, but that's ridiculous. They're gonna end up with a lot of lawsuits, and you going on a cruise to to relax, to have fun and whatsoever, but you can't do that without bringing in violence. This is ridiculous. I would never go on a Carnival Cruise because I ain't got time to be fighting nobody because a check or anything can get thrown my way and something happen. And yes, I'm going to sue you, Carnival, because you brought these people over here and allowed them to do it, because it'd be the same ones to keep traveling all the time. But the thing of it is, they're going to end up with lawsuits. They need to know who they letting up on these ships, which I know sometimes they can't do it all, but money is not everything. So you're going to end up paying out way more money than what you're making, because somebody going to end up suing the heck out of Carnival. You watch what I tell you. That's all I got.
Thank you. In my opinion, your thoughts?
This is how we get cruises that are jacked up in prices because they don't want these riffraffs on there. And they jack up the prices so they know that the people that's gonna be on there know how to act. I can't understand why anybody would be fighting over chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, any of these things. I mean, it's not even the specialty food that they have. I just, for the life of me, I can't understand you fighting over chicken nuggets and chicken tenders, making yourself look bad. Shoes flying, it just looked disgraceful. And I don't know what that one was back in April, but it looked even worse. Okay, y'all just keep doing this, and then you wonder why people say, "Oh well, these people aggressive," because they're looking at this.
Thank you. In my opinion, Wayne, your thoughts?
You know, there should be consequences for this. You know, the same way they have a do not fly list, they have a do not cruise list. You know, don't put these same crazy people on Royal Caribbean or Virgin and all them other ones. You know, they should not be able to cruise. Okay, I'm not saying they need to be permanently banned, but give them if they like to cruise, give them about 3 or 4 years that you can't cruise. You can't cruise no more. Okay, they need to have some fines because now blacks are getting, being associated with Carnival, that this is what happens when when blacks get on Carnival. You know already they're gonna take whatever we do and blow it way up. All you need is just one angry person, some person that can't control their temper. And this is how this stuff happens. It don't just happen on cruise ships. Happen at concerts, happens at malls and stuff like that. But there does need to be a consequences that if you're causing this kind of chaos on the cruise ships. And some penalties. Hit them where it hurt, their pocket. I bet if they put out some of the money that costs to go on a cruise, they'll think twice. I'm done.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and roll into this last story. And the last story is Lil Nas X, walking around. It's crazy. Let's take a look. Hold on one second. With just his underclothes on. And they're saying he was booked for battery. Lil Nas X booked for battery on officer at the naked escapade. Lil Nas X was just booked for battery on a police officer. They need to spell check their articles. Following his late night escapade that ended with him stark naked and tussling with police officers. TMZ Hip Hop can confirm the Old Town Road rapper is currently in custody for a misdemeanor offense at Van Nuys jail just outside Los Angeles. Nas is currently being held without bail. Let's just take a look.
Is in a really bad place right now. And it all started at 4 a.m. Thursday in the Valley on Ventura Boulevard.
San Fernando Valley.
Yes. And this was the scene at 4 a.m. Now, I got to say, this is one of these situations where it seems like it's one thing, and then it turns out to be something much different. So we got this video in, and I started writing the story thinking it was one thing, just like Lil Nas doing a promo. And then our producers started talking to some law enforcement sources. It became a much different story. And we thought, well, Lil Nas X has an album coming out.
Right. It almost looks like a music video.
He wasn't saying anything really bizarre in the video. We're going to play some of it for you in a second. It just seemed like sort of Lil Nas X antics.
Right.
It turned out to not be that because there were enough people, even at 4 a.m., who saw this going on and were concerned and called the police. We will tell you what happened when the police showed up. But here is just a little bit of what witnesses were seeing at 4 a.m. on Ventura Boulevard.
Nah. Hey, don't be late to the party tonight.
Where at?
You know where it's at. Nah, go ahead, babe. No. Go ahead, babe.
And there's a couple more times he referenced the party tonight. Don't know what he was talking about. There's another point where he got a traffic cone, put it on his head. Nothing dangerous, but certainly
concerning.
Yeah. Well, when the police did respond, they ended up confronting him. We are told by law enforcement sources that he ran toward the police at one point. They subdued him, put him in handcuffs, and whatever they were observing, they felt like something's not right here. It had been reported to them, we're told, as possible OD, like people who saw it were like, this guy must be on drugs.
So they took him to the hospital. Now, my sense of this, and I don't think we know this exactly, but my sense of this is that he was not arrested. He's there for observation, and they could potentially put him on a 5150 psychiatric hold. We don't know if that's happened.
He could also face charges.
He also could come out of the hospital and be booked on charges too. We don't know what
Which
the
they're
charges
saying he
would
will.
be.
I'm just wondering what I know that he charged the police, but I don't know that that's really a charge.
Public indecency.
It feels to me like it's more for observation. I mean, that's what it's feeling.
Maybe a 5150. And even with the possible overdose, when I spoke to the fire department, she said, listen, the LAPD said it's appeared he might have been on drugs, but she goes, we only transport, we can't diagnose him in the field, but that's how they're treating it right now.
So it does not feel like an arrest to me. It feels like
it's not going to be an arrest.
Some kind of
He is,
observation.
As of right now, as we're shooting this, we're told he's still in the hospital getting some sort of treatment or observation. And at some point they'll figure out what the next step is going to be. But this was very strange.
It's really concerning.
And by the way, there's something about Ventura Boulevard. Someone else years ago.
See, I think it's Sunset Boulevard way more than Ventura Boulevard.
Yeah. Martin Lawrence.
Oh, that's true.
Was on Ventura Boulevard.
Matt McConaughey was on Sunset Boulevard. So I'll give you one for one here.
No, Brittany wasn't Ventura Boulevard.
No.
No, that wasn't.
No,
but
Sunset wins.
Yes. Yeah.
Sunset wins.
Sunset wins. I don't know if that's a win.
Jenna in Chicago, and while I think it would be easy for all of us to make a really funny or hurtful comment about Lil Nas strutting in the street in his underwear and cowboy boots, I think it's important that we all lead with compassion and empathy and hope that he gets the help that he needs during this time.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So TMZ broke the story. Lil Nas was spotted by a bystander early this morning wearing nothing but his tighty whities and cowboy boots while parading down the middle of the street. Law enforcement sources say he eventually stripped down naked and lunged at an officer. Our cop sources tell us witnesses called police and Nas was rushed to a hospital after it was reported he suffered a possible overdose. Let's see, we'll go through that in a minute. Fans have grown accustomed to Nas' famous antics over the years, but this one is no stunt, of course. Let's hope.
Nah. Hey, don't be late to the party tonight.
Where at?
You know where it's at. Nah, go ahead, babe. No. Go ahead, babe. Nah, 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 nah. Didn't I tell you to put the phone down? Uh-oh, somebody's gonna have to pay for that. Da, 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 da. Hey, for everybody coming to the party. La, la, la. Yes, I am serving you. I am serving you. And you better be at that party tonight. Oh, yes. Yes. Ha, 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 ha. Yes. Ha. Yes, get my good side. Ha, ha, ha. Every side. Ha. Boom, boom. Yes. Ha. Boom, cat, towel. Ha. Boom, boom. Ha. Ha. Two. Ooh. Sean Bankhead taught me that one. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Batty boy, wants you give it to me, baby? Batty boy, wants you give it to me, baby? That's gonna be a beautiful sunrise. Give me that phone so I can throw it. I want to throw it far away so you never see it again. I don't like phones. Don't miss the party tonight. Why are you still here? You need to be telling everybody about the party, girl. What's your problem? Make it down, make it down, make it down.
Just sad. Very sad. Julius, your thoughts?
I hope he gets the help that he needs. It looks like he's strung out. And it's sad because this young person is talented.
Mm-hmm.
But as we talk about up here, the influence of the music industry in all its ways always finds its way to seep in and mess with the mind. I hope he gets the help he needs.
I hope so too. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah, these people need to stop making videos mocking God, knowing that there's an entity out there. And luckily, the police picked him up because he could have got taken in by somebody else or did something too, walking and strutting down the street. Anything could have happened. So the good thing about it is the police did pick him up while he out there doing his stripper moves or whatever he's doing and walking around in them little shouts. It's just ridiculous. And that's not an overdose. An overdose, he wouldn't be moving. You be seeing slobber and everything coming out his mouth. So that's not an overdose. Whatever he's on, he wasn't overdosing on it, but he's on something. Cause I hope not nobody with a mind would go out there and do stuff like that and tell me where the party at. Why he ain't at the party? He said, "Man, ask that man why he ain't there. Why you ain't there? This is ridiculous." Like you said, I hope he gets some help that he needs because he definitely needs it. That's all I got.
Thank you. In my opinion, your thoughts?
So he been had mental issues. When he was doing the devil worshiping and selling stuff with blood in it and all that, I knew he had mental issues then. But he looked like he was on some stuff too. I mean, he looked like he was out there auditioning to be a majorette or something. You know, all he needed was a baton out there, and I would have thought he was on the majorette squad. I don't understand this. We need to really emphasize getting people mental health under control.
I agree with you 100%. 100%. Wayne, your thoughts?
You know, I just think he was strung out,
Yeah.
just like all of them did. Richard Pryor went running down the street with a match, not a match, but whatever. Remember, he was doing that. Martin Lawrence was out there in California sweatsuit, darn about having a stroke out there. So it's something definitely going on. I don't know if he got some bad drugs or what, but hopefully with this hold they have on him, he can realize that he needs some help. I don't think he's crazy. I just think he just got some bad drugs. And out there, and just acting a fool. So, I mean, hopefully he'll get together. He's young, get together, get some psychiatric treatment, or if he's strung out on drugs like that, get into a program. You know, so he's young enough. I hope he gets it together, go on and be great. That's it.
Yeah, I hope so too. Whoo, good gosh. All right. So I just want to, I've been concerned about baby Emmanuel, and every day there's updates, and unfortunately, the updates gets uglier and uglier and uglier as the days go by. So now they're saying that the Emmanuel's, I guess we'll call it his stepsister for talking purposes. His dad's child, the dad was accused of darn near with the ex-wife beating this little girl to death. How is he even, like, I know you can't stop somebody from having kids, but I'm trying to figure out, how was he not locked up? We're gonna take a listen to this. It's just egregious, and it's so crazy. Let's just take a listen to this update.
7-month-old baby boy named Emmanuel Harrow, and the details that we've just learned about the baby's father and his criminal past, absolutely hair-raising. The number of children that have been moved out of the Harrow home into the custody of others is nothing short of alarming. Let me take you back for a moment. Baby Emmanuel was reported missing last Thursday. His mother, Rebecca Harrow, claimed that a stranger approached her from behind, said, "Hola," and then knocked her unconscious. She says when she woke up, baby Emmanuel was gone, right there in the parking lot, gone. But according to investigators, Rebecca's story didn't add up all the way. Rebecca refused a lie detector test, and both she and her husband have stopped cooperating with the police, the authorities say. To be clear, there have been no charges filed against Jake or Rebecca Harrow, and Jake's attorney insisted right here on this show last night that his client, Jake Harrow, is cooperating, despite that statement from the police suggesting otherwise. Tonight it is Jake's past, however, that is becoming a lot more worrisome. Yesterday, we learned about his felony child cruelty conviction, the one that put him in jail for 6 months back in 2023. Both Jake and his ex-wife, Vanessa Avila, pleaded guilty to the charges, and tonight we have learned that crime was committed against his own 10-week-old baby girl, a child who survived but suffered horrendous lifelong injuries. We've got photos of the child, and I should tell you that the family has given us permission to show those photos, likely as a warning about Jake Harrow. But I do want to tell you this. When we show you those photos, they are quite disturbing, so fair warning in advance. Here is the little girl in her hospital bed, 10 weeks old. She is recovering here from several fractures to her ribs, to her skull, and to her legs. She is also recovering from a brain hemorrhage. This little girl was eventually removed from the Harrow home, and she was adopted by one of Vanessa's cousins. That cousin has cared for this little girl and even renamed her. Her new name is Promise Faith. According to the cousin, Promise is now 7 years old, but take a look at this picture. The damage that she suffered from those injuries was permanent. Promise was left blind. Promise was left unable to walk. Promise was left unable to talk and unable to swallow due to strangulation. We are told from this cousin that Promise has 3% brain function, that Promise needs a feeding tube, and that Promise will need round-the-clock care for the rest of her life. So let's just contemplate this as you see these pictures. Jake Harrow, who beat this child, received 6 months in jail and probation afterwards. The same cousin who adopted this little girl, Promise, also took in Jake's oldest son, who she says was born with fetal alcohol syndrome. That child was named after his father, Jake, but the cousin also renamed the little boy. His new name is Carlos. And now this same cousin who has taken in 2 of Jake Harrow's children One that Jake Harrow beat into a lifelong condition. Another that was born with fetal alcohol syndrome. Now this cousin is caring for a third child removed from the Harrow home just this week. A 2-year-old child was taken out of Jake and Rebecca's care. I'm joined now by true crime digital creator Abby Escobar, who spoke directly with this cousin who has been caring for these children. Abby uncovered these incredible details. First and foremost, I don't even know what the word is, apoplectic, devastated, angry, all of the above, that these 3 kids have had to be moved out of the Harrow home, and yet the Harrows still had children living there. Let's just start right there, Abby. Child cruelty, a prison sentence, and this little child was left with lifelong incapacities. How is it that they still had kids?
I don't get it. It is such a huge injustice. I mean, they practically killed that child, and here they are just living their lives like nothing even happened. How is that fair?
Well, and it's shocking to think that there were 2 other kids at least. And I don't know if there are more, but Jake Harrow Jr., renamed Carlos, and now this 2-year-old baby, not pictured on your screen. This is baby Promise, who's now 7, but another baby that's 2 years old that has been moved into the cousin's care. And of course, baby Emmanuel. How is it that the authorities allowed children to live in this home? Are we getting any answers?
Yeah, you would think that any children they had would have immediately been taken by CPS just because of the history. But no, they were allowed to remarry, have more children, and nothing happened. I mean, this little girl actually...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this little girl has to fight every day just to stay alive. And they're out like nothing. It's just not fair.
And I'll tell you, it's hard to tell from some of the pictures we're showing. It's hard to tell, but Promise, again, who's now about 7, has some of the same facial features as her little brother, Emmanuel.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people have wondered, was Emmanuel beaten the same way that Promise was beaten so as to have rendered him with those same facial features? Do you know anything about that?
So I don't, but I've been talking about this on my TikTok and my Facebook, and there have been a lot of comments saying things like that. People noticing the similarities. It really has to make you wonder.
Well, all of it is just sort of unbelievable that these kids still lived in the home after this little child, Promise, was rendered in this condition from the beating she received from her father, according to the cousin. Let's talk about the cousin, Vanessa Avila's cousin. And let's remember, Rebecca Harrow is the woman who is claiming that her baby Emmanuel was taken from her when she was hit over the head. Her husband, Jake, was married to another woman, a woman named Vanessa Avila. She also pleaded guilty to the beating of baby Promise. Why is it that this cousin feels it's so important to get this story out and to get those pictures out?
Well, I think that she feels that justice wasn't served the first time, which, I mean, it obviously wasn't, but she hasn't told me directly, but she has made comments to the point of, if justice would have been served the first time, then this wouldn't have happened to more children. So she's personally affected by this cousin.
Does this cousin of Vanessa Avila believe the story that the Harrows are telling on TV in this clip right here, where she says, I was hit in the head, I woke up, the baby was gone, please help me find the baby? The cousin doesn't believe it. What has she told you?
Absolutely not. Excuse me. She said that when she first heard the news story, it just broke her to pieces. She immediately had a feeling, as I feel most people have. I mean, the story just doesn't really make very much sense.
Yeah, the police have said it doesn't make sense. They put out a statement that her stories don't add up and that they believe foul play is possible. They've taken cadaver dogs to the Harrow home. There are reports that there were some kind of digging activity. at the Harrow
Yeah.
home as well. In the meantime, just knowing now about this history, about these 3 other children now living in Vanessa Avala's cousin's care, how are those children now? How is this cousin, and I understand she wants to remain nameless, she's also putting out a plea to everyone, please stop. Don't come to my children's school.
Yes.
Reporters showed up at her children's school. I mean, how are they managing through all of this?
The kids, they're wonderful. The cousin has provided these kids with such an amazing life. She and her husband, they love them. They take wonderful care of them. The children are happy and they're well.
I mean, Promise has to have round-the-clock care and a feeding tube.
Yeah.
She's unable to feed because of the strangulation, reportedly. It's just, that is an enormous amount of work that they are putting into the care of this poor child. I just don't understand how it only yielded 6 months and also yielded a father who was allowed to come out and still have 3 children in his home. That's the part I don't understand. Are there any
cannot
other
wrap my head
details
around
that
it.
this cousin shared?
Well, she said that Promise, they were told that they didn't think she would even live a week after this happened, but they have done everything they can for this little girl to keep her going. You know, she's got the tracheostomy tube. She has to be suctioned frequently so she doesn't choke on her own mucus. The feeding tube. She can't walk. She can't talk. She's blind. It's just horrible. But I mean, she said that Promise is her miracle baby, and really she is. It's amazing that she survived that. 10 weeks old.
It is, but just tragic that she was, you know, condemned to a life like this because of the acts of her father.
Absolutely.
If all of the cousins reporting,
he
you know,
gets to
is
remarry.
accurate.
Yeah. And then he gets to remarry and have more kids. And there's no intervention. There's no concern. And now a 7-month-old baby is gone. I just feel like more should have been
and here
done.
we have this, you know, this report at 10 weeks old. I mean, at 10 weeks old, a newborn is so helpless and so tiny and can do so little to upset us, except, you know, create just the utmost joy to know that anyone was capable of creating that much damage to a 10-week-old. I dare say I am very concerned about baby Emmanuel and what might have happened to baby Emmanuel, but it's starting to look more and more suspicious, these pleas for help to find baby Emmanuel. Abby, thank you for your reporting. Break in to the show if you learn more throughout the, I know this is all very much developing and you're learning as you go, but just break in and bring any new reporting that you get throughout the program. Thank you for
Absolutely,
this.
I sure will. Yeah, thank you.
Also want to let our viewers know that if you want to follow Abby, she goes by the handle Abby Blabby on her socials. She's been doing some pretty remarkable reporting on this story and other stories as well. So check out Abby Blabby, Abby Escobar joining us.
The more I hear about this story, I don't even know how this man was allowed in the streets. And this, I know people get tired of us saying this, but you got a Sean Combs offering $50 million for a bail. And then you have this situation here where this man darn near almost killed this baby, and he got 6 months. And now another baby is missing and they don't automatically, I'm sorry, I think he should be arrested in the mom. Because clearly she's lying. And like y'all kept pointing out, she said the floor, not the ground. I'm going to stay connected to this story, but I'm feeling like any day now, these people need to be arrested. This is crazy. And somebody keeps saying, God bless the cousin. The cousin definitely is an angel.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
To take on that, this man should have gotten at least a life sentence, because you might as well say he took the life of that child of Promise. She will never know what it is to be loved. Emmanuel would never. Can you imagine a children, the most vulnerable of our society, and all they should know is love, being held, And just think, at the young, tender age, they haven't even experienced that. They haven't experienced that. And he's still walking around. I don't want to say this is a black and white thing, you know, but how do you let anybody off who've done that? I don't understand. Is this in Georgia? Diva, was this in Georgia?
I gotta go back and find out. I don't know why I was thinking, no, it was LA, right? I gotta go back.
Yeah, it was LA. It was LA. It was, because they were 72 miles from LA, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just, and it's hurtful. It's so hurtful to know that somebody can do that to a child and just go and live their life. I don't get it.
Well, I feel like baby Emmanuel, whatever happened, it happened because they didn't lock this man up for longer. 6 months. Blind. They said the baby was strangled at 10 weeks. And
at least attempted murder.
Promise does know love, because that cousin is loving that baby. I'm saying baby but she's 7. She's 7 now. Promise is loving her. But it's a shame that this man was allowed to get away with it. And I guess what did his wife at the time get? Because that was the first wife he had the baby with. And my thing is, and that's why I keep telling people, people's history matters when you get with them. If I meet a man and the ex-wife, and then I find out that your baby was darn near killed, no, I'm good. Not only am I not talking to you, I'm blocking you on everything I can. It's just sad. This case, the more I hear about this guy, the more I just literally can't even believe like this really happened. I just can't even really believe it. It's crazy to me that he was allowed to just walk free. It just doesn't make any type of sense to me whatsoever. It's wild to me. Oh God. But listen, guys, I'm going to stay connected to this story. I appreciate y'all for being here with me on this Thursday night for Trending Topics. Y'all know the routine. If you ain't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.
Choo choo.